Everyone, check out the crib. It is a 7 by 5 by 4 masterpiece with a chest wall that's completely, part of the design and not a miscalculation on my end. That's not what happened here. So, what are we planning for today? I've already designed a starter house for myself, and I'm in the process of resource gathering, basically. Usually I go for a block palette of just, oak, spruce, stone, and that's about it. But this time around, I actually wanted to try hard a little. I wanted to make one of those like really good starter houses, and it's proving to be a bit of a pain in the ass, but it's okay. Let's get started then. I know in this direction, in an island somewhere, that's a singular azalea tree. So, with my limited knowledge of Minecraft, I'm gonna assume that there is a lush cave underneath that, and I'm gonna go there. Let's get started. I did not bring food. Must have been the wind. Let's just continue on. So, was anyone gonna tell me that mining moss is as fast when you're breaking it with your hand and when you're using an iron pickaxe? It's the same exact speed. Are you kidding? Could I have just been doing this the whole time? Well, I guess now I know. Alright, so I've gathered everything and this is what we got. Now I can head back home and we can start building. Isn't that exciting? Well, that worked out. You don't see that. That doesn't exist, actually. Damn. And with that, that should be everything ready. You know what I didn't do? I did not check. Let's check that right now, actually. Do I have everything that I need? Alright, I've moved everything onto one chest, and I've already picked the spot, aka, this house. I'm about to bulldoze this house and replace it with a new and better one. I'm gonna give you guys a moment of silence for your last time seeing this house. Okay, yeah, okay, let's start. That took so much longer than expected. I completely underestimated the amount of materials I needed. But it is done, so let's take a quick tour of the outside and inside. Here's what the front looks like. I made like this last minute addition of a to-do list because I realized I didn't have one in the base, and I like my to-do list in sign form. And over here we have my one and only horse. He's like slightly faster than average, but it's okay, I don't need anything crazy. To the side here you can see like this part of the house, and its windows lead into the kitchen, which I'll show later on. Here's the back of the house. I like using this sort of like sign thing because I think it adds a bit of depth because it does jut out a little, but it's also not as big as a block, right? So you can make these sort of like half timbered framing, and they look pretty cool. There's 2 chimneys to this house because I'm greedy like that. This back angle lets you see the tower in its entirety, and you can notice that it's like a different color from everything else, but I think it complements everything pretty well, you know? Here's this other side of the house, and it's this sort of like fortress structure. I just wanted the left and right to be completely different things. I feel like this entire thing is kind of like a compilation of all the things I've learned the past month about building. So let's get into the interior. Here's what it looks like. I quite like playing with elevation because I think it's an easy way to add depth into a build without doing or like putting much effort. And here's like my starter storage area. It is not nearly enough room for like a proper, you know, long-term base, but for now it'll do. I'm not someone who's like super organized or anything. And over here we've got the kitchen, as you saw from the outside earlier. And we have a little like netherwort farm, we have cauldrons and a brewing stand. So it kind of doubles as a brewing area as well. But we've got the smokers, we've got chests filled with like food. And here's also like my work area. I made the floor deep slate because I thought like I shouldn't have wooden floors near the smelters and everything. There's a bunch of workbenches, an ominous banner. I put a map here because why not? I got a lot of maps from shipwrecks and everything. Onto the second floor, we've got this enchanting area and this big separator with armor stands, which leads to the bedroom. Here's where I sleep. I think it's pretty cozy. I quite like it. I put a jukebox with music discs over here. That's pretty much it for the interior. Like over here we have the top of the fortress structure where you can like sit down and whatnot. But that's about it. And finally at the top here we have the tower. You can just like be on the lookout. You can shoot mobs from up here. I feel like as I build more things, the view would get like cooler and cooler from up here, so that's cool. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm decently happy with it. Could I have done better? I feel like I could have. But for a starter house and like, you know, the build to kick off this world, I think I did a pretty decent job. Welcome to the postscript, the part where I yap about certain things that didn't quite fit into the video, but I wanted to mention anyway. I think I'm just gonna add these to the end of videos if I do have like certain or more things to talk about. I do realize that I never gave any context. Like, I left no introduction and I just started doing things. So I thought that, like, you know, I'd give a little bit more context on what this account actually is. Basically, I'm just treating this as a place to document progress and also learn new skills. Because, you know, as a kid, I grew up watching a lot of YouTubers. I've always admired them and I've always wanted to try content creating for myself. I always get to the point where I download the softwares, I download OBS, I download DaVinci, and I set everything up. I set my mic up, I start watching YouTube videos and tutorials on how to do things like this. But then I never actually go through with it, and I end up putting it down, and another year goes by with me doing absolutely nothing. I wanted to finally change that and actually like put something out there. So this is kind of like a place where, you know, I get to play my favorite game, I get to practice new skills like editing, and also I get to play around with like new mods that I typically don't get to play with. Like, this is my first time ever using things like Flashback and Lightmatica. Whoa. And it's been a bit of a learning curve. I'm not gonna lie with you. I was super overwhelmed at first, but it's been really fun, honestly. And I can't like wait to see what else I can do. And I can't wait to see how my editing and my video making gets better from here and progresses. I don't know how often I'm gonna post. I don't think I'm gonna have like the time to really post consistently or even like often at all, but I'm completely okay with that. I just wanted to try making something, and if it takes 2 years for me to do another video, then that's okay. That's about it, really. If you guys have any like comments or feedback or like suggestions or anything like that, I would love to hear about them. But for now, that's all I have for today. Thanks for sticking around. Bye.